if we go on to the next game, that was quite entertaining, wasn't it? 5-2.
Yeah, Spurs starting to really impress a lot of people now, I think.
Yeah,
me and you'd already said we'd been impressed, but that is equally on the basis that our expectation for them wasn't very good.
And
so
I think that... So it was Burnley at home, and Spurs obviously away, 5-2, and Son comes on, replaces Richarlison up front and gets a hat-trick straight away.
Yeah.
So you start questioning what's Richarlison doing wrong up there.
What's his role in that team moving forward? Because they seem to, from that game, don't look like there's a... You would say now it makes sense to stick with whatever lineup they just had in that game for the next game, which keeps him out of the team, questioning whether he has the spot in that team. Obviously, Son looking back to his best, 3 goals, none of them really worldies, just like in the right place at the right time, doing things he can do.
It was like they could easily mess them up. So the third one to get his hat-trick, he was through on goal. When you have a lot of time to think about it as a striker, you can easily mess it up. And I think he takes it really well.
I think he's almost becoming underrated, Son, because of the last season. He had the injury spell.
He's had a bad 2 seasons, though, hasn't he?
I don't know. I felt like the season before he was still doing okay, and then it was just last year. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is 2 seasons, but I feel like before that, he's always been one of those players since he's been in the Prem where he's pretty consistently good.
Yeah.
And to the point where he can do things like that. He is a match winner when he's at his best. You obviously question, based on the form he's had in the last sort of 12 months or however long it's been, whether he still had that in his locker, and it looks like he does. I know it's only Burnley, but it's still, to get a hat-trick in the Premier League, unless you're a robot from Norway, it seems to be quite difficult,
or a youngster from Ireland.
There's a few this week.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hat-tricks this week. But yeah, I was having a discussion with my dad yesterday, and we were saying, like, when Spurs play, well, when they used to play with Kane up front, it seemed like everything went through Kane.
Yeah.
But now, they obviously have to work more as a team.
It's a lot more fluid now,
Yeah, you might actually see a completely different Spurs now, because they just don't have to rely on that just one person. They have to all dig in for it, so...
There is people been saying, are they going to be a better outfit for not having Harry Kane anymore?
Even though they're world-class strikers and they're amazing players, but I've seen it before at other clubs where you don't want to, but then you end up getting rid of your main player, but you end up playing better.
But it's almost like, not completely the same, but when we saw Cristiano Ronaldo come back to United, he obviously did well that season, but moving forward with the age of the player, everything, you're trying to play through him all the time. In terms of building an identity for a manager, like Postecoglou is doing now and Erik ten Hag had to do when he came into United, maybe that not being forced to play that way and being able to command and change that, it is sometimes a good thing. And obviously it's not a good thing for any team to lose a player like the pair of those two we just mentioned, but they've got to make the most of it.
I know I definitely was on the side of, when United was losing Cristiano, I thought it'd be for the best.
Yeah, in the long term, because you can't go building your team around him anymore. No. And realistically, for us to get the best out of him, you do have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think you're wasting a player like that then. So I did think it made sense for all parties, and then we'll see how Spurs fare for the rest of the season. I do still think that people may be getting a bit carried away, but they do deserve the plaudits that they've had so far.
Yeah, well, like I said, they had such dreadful style of play from the previous managers. They're just enjoying it at the minute. And fair play to him, because you've been starved of good football for about 3 years now.
Yeah, the sort of managers that they had when they had Mourinho in, he's not really playing fluid football.
Yeah.
Conte, similar. Didn't really ever understand either of them as appointments.
No.
For their team, it just doesn't make sense to me.
They kind of went down the route of like, right, we're not winning anything, we need to get some winners in. And it didn't really work out, did it? So.
No, well, the funniest thing about that to me always will be that they got to that final and then they sacked Mourinho.
Yeah, who's a winner? Like
he he would have had a good chance of winning that, and they pretty much threw all that away. Daniel Levy is a clown, I think, but
it does blow your mind what he did. And to be fair, their next game, Spurs, they've got Sheffield United.
Right.
So they're going to carry on, aren't they, really?
They have had quite a favourable run, really. I mean, you'd say Brentford was a tough game. They get away with a draw. And then they played United, which was, it was hanging in the balance, but I'd say it was comfortable. Their midfield dominated that, and they beat us fairly 2-0.
It might be better for them to get all this confidence now for when they do play a big team. They might be all guns blazing with confidence, won't they? So
if you're in such good form, then the amount of difference that'll make. We've seen it before with teams. Yeah. If you're playing in a great vein of form, when you come into those games, then you stand a much better chance. So